RPIW, we have created this, which is a much smoother, simpler path. We have standardized the process through the auto scheduler, and by using the auto scheduler, we have increased productivity, decreased chance of error. We are adhering to the provider's session limits and create increased patient satisfaction, which then would create what Madge said, a happier patient means more of them.
Hi, my name is Danai. I'm a medical assistant at Westwood Clinic. Our team is working to improve scheduling for PARS, nurses, and MS. And during our observation at the Buren Clinic workflow, we found that a lot of time being wasted. As you see the clock there, time is very precious. We found that nurses are typing very long messages, and there's a lot of back and forth between provider, nurses, and MS and PARS, and sharing the same information. We also know that many clinics don't have the same standardized work, making things more difficult for patients to be seen. And for all of that, we have created smart phrases. So nurses are going to be happy for that, and MS and PARS. And Kelly, my partner, will talk to you about it. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Kelvin. I'm a PAR over at the Buren Clinic. And just like Danae mentioned earlier, the smart phrases is our primary solutions to this wasted time. And what I have here is that I created a small little cheat sheets, and it's going to be a growing cheat sheets for the smart phrases that the front desk and the back desk will have access to. And for this example, I'm going to be using one of the triage protocols where when it comes to screening for triage patients, we look for the red and the yellow symptoms. And for those ones are the more urgent ones, and we need to address them right away. And for that, the nurses will be able to utilize those smart phrases that will pull up this list of questionnaires, and they can easily navigate through this whole list, and they'll be able to get the patients documented really, really quickly. And this really helps eliminate the long texting, the long manual handwriting, which can cause a lot of errors and a lot of repeats and a lot of back and forths. So this really helps eliminate that. And for the PAR side of it, we also created a message where there will be for capturing the green symptoms, which are more acute types of things, where we can eliminate that from the spot, and we can make an appointment via either the same day scheduling or using the cross scheduling that we had mentioned earlier. And here is a percent load charts which describes some of the workloads and the cycle times that the operators, which are the nurses, the PARs, and the MAs have been experiencing throughout the workflow. And as you can see, the nurses have a really high cycle time in comparison to the tech time, as they are way above the average. And we want to eliminate that and reduce that by implementing these smart phrases. And here is the future state of what we're looking to achieve by implementing it, by eliminating the whole nurses the cycle time loads, which is the ones that we can capture right from the get-go, the green symptoms. And then by distributing some of those workloads to the PARs and the MAs, so which would further eliminate the workloads from the nurses, allowing them to contact and reach out to more urgent patients. And these smart phrases can easily be implemented by using a standardized, by smart phrases, which is accessible to all the clinics who are using the Epic systems. And by doing that, we can easily standardize and workflows among many clinics, either be large or small, and this really helps with the process and reduce variation.
This is our future state value stream map. So based on the team, or the work that the team has done this week, all of the red X's has been waste that has been eliminated from the process. So this means from prior, 75% of the non-value added work has now been reduced to 4%. On our target progress reports, one of the targets that we were measuring was the variability with the provider schedules and appointment types. By applying 5S, we have been able to increase the level of achievement from a level 1 to a level 2. And then finally, at the end of the week, the team created a future state process flow map. So as you can see visually, it's much more standardized. and easy to follow process. There is many, many less pink stickies. So that means 68% of the waste will be eliminated in this future state. So from the patient perspective, when they need an appointment, they can call and get an appointment when they need it and do so within 3 minutes.
Hi there, my name is Alyssa Matthews. I'm the clinic supervisor down at the Burien Clinic and one of the process owners for this workshop along with Dr. Nick Jansen. We're going to be using this 30-day newspaper to help keep us accountable and track our action items moving forward. So we'll take a bunch of the tools that our team has created through this week and roll them out to the clinics.
And I just want to say how proud I am of these team members who created this work. It's, you're looking at basically the ambassadors of this work as we go around to the clinics and ask for commitment from our providers and staff to implement this. And so I just want to highlight again just how proud I am of them. Our next steps is to go around the clinic and ask for commitment in a respectful way. I want to give a special kudos to all the Burien Clinic providers. We are really struggling with access there, and all of them have agreed to move to this template. In fact, the templates have all been converted for all of them, and it will go live as of June 3rd. So we're real hopeful to get others on board as well. So.
So, lessons learned from our week. Wow, just how much work can be done when you get the right people in the room. We were able to bring PARs, MAs, providers, and staff from our Tacoma patient access team, along with, most importantly, a patient. We were able to bring Hansen to our workout session so that we could ask her questions that we needed to ask a patient. She was also to give us really good feedback. And if any of you know Madge, she didn't hold back. Lessons also learned where defects can be passed down so easily in the most apparent, simplest processes. How simple should it be that we just have a patient call and that they should be scheduled? But you saw it's not that simple, but we have simplified it this week. It's possible for us to turn I cans into I cans. We said at the beginning of the week, I can't get my patients in. And we turned it around to I can get my patients in. And without strong leadership to support this work, it wouldn't be possible. So kudos to everybody that's here to help support us, and thank you very much. I also would like to thank many, many people on this list, and many, many more, for all of your support, especially the Burien Clinic, the Westwood Clinic, and the Seahurst Clinic, because they were able to pitch in so that their team members could come up here and do the great work that they have done. So now I would like to turn this over to Rhonda Stewart. She is our sensei from Virginia Mason that's been coaching us along the way.
Hi, again, my name is Rhonda Stewart. I come from the Virginia Mason Institute, and my role this week is sensei, but it's a coach. It's sensei with a small s. And so I was coaching Lee and Erica for their certification. And so Lee has to do her workshop lead in the next RPIW, so that's her next task. But Erica has just about finished and put a bow on everything, so she has a final report to do. So you'll hear more about that soon. I want to thank the team. This is a team that was from each of the different clinics, so cross-functional, so that it's easy to spread. We did all of our testing there at Burien, but it makes it easier to spread when you get that buy-in from the other clinics, and our experts from the call center as well. A couple of quotes from the team this week. So one from a physician at the beginning of the week said, if at the end of the week my schedule is full, and I didn't have to spend the time arranging it, then that's a good day, right? And we're hoping that's what we can do, is taking the daily arrangement of the schedule potentially away from the provider so that we know what that provider prefers. A team member said that scheduling is risky. The PARs can't schedule without getting yelled at. And a lot of that had to do with the 15 versus the 30, the 20 versus the 40, right? There won't be any yelling with 20-minute slots. It'll just be what it is. And it's up to you to limit how many 20s you have an hour. From a patient, we heard that when I saw a new doc, he knew all about me, right? And so some of our patients, they aren't afraid to see a new doc. If they need to get in, they need to get in. And if their doctor filled up today's access, they'll go and see another doctor. The clinics aren't that far apart. She said, yeah, I'd go to Seahurst and see another doctor. We share an electronic health system, right? And since you do, you can share that record. It's not paper. And so you can share that record, and that information is readily available for that other physician. This week, the team learned to respect the blocks. It's difficult to respect the blocks. I want to get this patient in. I'm going to search manually to find a slot tomorrow to get this patient in, and the patient just needs a PAP, right? And I've just kicked out a slot for a patient who has a more serious and needs to get in a little more urgently. And that sends these patients to prompt care, right? So how can we pull those patients back from prompt care and have them seen more often by their team, their PCP or their team? This RPIW was really based on the variation and getting that variation to standardization. A lot of the work around documenting, they did a lot of documenting processes, but there was already a lot of standard work documented out there. And so it's how do we share that information, share those tips that some people know and other people don't know, and then have a training plan to be able to give our employees the tools they need to do their job, right? And remove that burden. In this, there's also not just standard work for the employees, but there's standard work for those leaders. So what are you learning? Who's in Lean for Leaders? Okay, look at that room. You're all, okay, great. So you're learning, who's gonna do session 6 next month, right? So in session 4, 5, and 6, you're learning about leaders' standard work, right? What are those daily routines a leader needs to do to sustain improvement, right? I need to huddle with my staff. Well, today in huddle, we might talk about session limits. Tomorrow, we might talk about the slots, the 20-minute slots. So how do you use your daily management in order to sustain some of these improvements? And then your leader standard work around rounding. How do I round on the Gemba? How do I have physical standard work that's documented and then go and check and make sure that they're answering the phones the way they should be, right? And that they're not handing off, and get those rocks in the shoes from the nurse that says, they keep sending me patients that they don't need to be sending me. They should just schedule these. Right? And so how do you get those rocks in the shoes out? You follow that leader standard work. So it's a very important piece that will help with this. And we have really strong process owners, and they're going to help sustain in the future. So I'm really proud of this group. So thanks for having me.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicki Jimenez, and I'm the executive sponsor for this value stream in primary care, and also one of the 2 sponsors along with John Lee for this particular RPIW. When we started this RPIW on day 1 and we were looking at the target progress report, I pointed out to the team that up to 50% of our patients were unhappy with the appointment time that they were given. It really hurts, doesn't it? And it's really disheartening. That's a lot of patients that are unhappy with the times that we've given them. So part of their challenge for the week was to change that. And we really look at what does the patient want, when does the patient want to be seen, and to bust those barriers. And I think you've seen today that they've really accomplished that. They're making some drastic changes. And you heard one schedule is going to have availability for 14 more patients a week. Multiply that by how many primary care providers are in the Highland region. That's a lot of appointments every week that we've been missing out on. You also saw the value stream map at the beginning that had all the cloudbursts on there. I like to count them. I'm obsessed with counting them. And those cloudbursts represent defects or waste in our process. There were 27 of those on that sheet of paper. No wonder we couldn't get our patients in. We were making the process so difficult for ourselves, and how unfair was that to our patients? When I counted how many red X's were on that sheet yesterday, there are only 7 of those cloudbursts left. There was a tremendous amount of work done between the 5S'ing, the waste walks, creating standard work. As some of you in the room know, this is the 3rd time I've sponsored one of these events, and so it's the 3rd time I've walked in and did an intro and walked back out and let the team do the work. And I have to tell you, I have yet to be let down. I have yet to be